Well, hi. Today is Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. I'm Todd Studer, and this is Morning Coffee. All right, so I went from yesterday morning, the gravelly voice. Now I got this thing that sounds like it's on the edge of cracking. I don't know, is it allergies? Is it exactly what's going on? Could be that, but my voice is just not cooperating right now. And that leads me into the topic of today's show. I get asked a lot when folks find out that I have done, well, roughly over 200 audiobooks in my career. How do you do that? How do you get into that? I would love to record audiobooks. And I thought, well, why don't we just share the information and let you know how the process is done? If it's something that interests you, how do you get into it? And believe it or not, it's easier than you think. So we're going to talk about that today. I also want to talk about what is new at the Mile Away, north of Council Bluffs on Old Lincoln Highway. You know, they have just opened a arcade called Glitch in their upper floor. And they're open late every night. So stop out, see everything that they've got. I know that it's going to be a work in progress, so they're going to keep adding to it. But on the agenda is getting some pinball machines in there, dartboards, just a lot of cool things, old school video games. This is going to be a really, really cool space. So I encourage you to stop out at the Mile Away. Oh, by the way, they're also open for lunch. I understand that yesterday they had a little bit of a technical issue and we're not able to get open. But so just go and follow the Mile Away on social media and you'll be able to stay up to date on everything that's going on. And since this is Thursday, well, coming up tonight, it is $5 burger and fries night. Eat in, and that is with the purchase of a drink. Otherwise, it's $7, which is still a crazy good deal for a half-pound burger and fries or tots. So that's at the Mile Away, Old Lincoln Highway in Council Bluffs. If you're feeling stuck in uncertainty, conflict, or miscommunication, The Spiral of Accountability by Carol Horner, local author right here in Council Bluffs, is your guide to breaking free from the fog that clouds decision-making and relationships. Learn how to recognize negative cycles, shift your mindset, and build a culture of clarity and collaboration at work, at home, and in life. So if you're ready to spiral up, get your copy on Amazon or just go to Carol's website, spiralofaccountability.com, and start your journey to a healthier, more productive team. And GT Motors on Broadway in Council Bluffs has an ever-changing inventory to help get you in a quality used vehicle. Trucks, large and small SUVs, passenger cars, even sports cars. GT Motors can help. Check out their inventory at gtmotorscb.com, or better yet, stop by their lot at 21st and Broadway. They may have cars on the lot that haven't made it to the website yet. So head out to the lot, GT Motors in Council Bluffs. They even provide on-site financing. All right, so here we go. Starting into audiobooks. If this is something that interests you and you would like to see if you have a knack for it, breaking into the field, there is a website which would be the first place that I would go. And it's 3 letters, ACX. It's acx.com. This is the platform where a lot of books that end up on Audible are recorded. They're going to give you everything that you need there, including there's a lot of manuscripts and there's many that are open for audition. So you can right now, if you have a setup, and I'm going to tell you about what kind of equipment that you'll need in order to be able to do this, but if you have that space, then you can go and start auditioning right away. Now, auditioning doesn't pay anything, but it is a way to be able to break into the industry. And I've recorded 10 or 12, I would say, that I got through that platform on ACX. And there's different levels of what you would think it's the author, but they're referred to as the rights holder, because sometimes it's not the author that's hiring you to do it. It's the person that owns the rights to the manuscript that you're about to record. So go to acx.com, take a look, and go to the auditions area and see what types of books you'd like to do. Now, me personally, I only did nonfiction. I'm not an actor. So, and it requires acting when you're doing a fiction book, because if you're doing characters, you have to be able to slide in and out of different voices and things like that. And that just wasn't me. So I stuck to nonfiction manuscripts. And then I also stuck to some of the lower end. They pay by per finished hour. So what that means is you're not getting paid for your time, you're getting paid for your finished product. So let's say that a book is, well, that's 9,000 words long. And that is going to be about the pace that you will want to read per hour, is roughly 9,000 words. So something else to keep track of is you need to practice your pacing and see just how fast you're going through that. You don't want to read too fast. The rights holders don't want you to read too fast. You also don't want to read too slow. So that is the beginning stages of what you're doing. And as I said, just practice on some manuscripts. There's audition scripts in there. You want to give them roughly 5 minutes or so of your audition that you're going to ultimately send into them. So before we get any deeper into that, if you don't have something to record on, then it's not going to do you any good. I make a joke in a lot of places when I've talked to folks, and I'll tell you the same thing, that you'd be surprised how many audiobooks were recorded in someone's walk-in closet, because it's soundproof in there. All of the clothes that are hanging, as long as it's big enough and you've got space, then it just kind of naturally treats a room acoustically. So that happens quite a bit, is they set up in a walk-in closet. You can set up an individual studio space, but that seems to work for beginners. It's just a way to be able to get into it. You need to have a computer that runs pretty well, but you're only recording audio. You're not going to be recording video on it, so it doesn't take up that much space. Then you're going to need a microphone. This particular microphone is a Heil PR40, Heil PR40, and I personally like this. I bought it from a friend of mine, and I am a big fan. It's also what's known as a dynamic microphone. So dynamic microphones are a lot quieter. I have to be a lot closer to the microphone in order to be able to hear it. True voice artists, meaning people who that's what they do for a living, they prefer to use a condenser microphone because it's a lot more natural. It picks up everything, and you're going to need a much quieter space if you use a condenser microphone. This particular one, as I said, is dynamic. You could also use a Shure microphone. As we've got a motorcycle going by outside, you can probably hear that. That's something that you have to pay attention to if you're in audiobooks. That cannot be. This is a podcast. I don't care. Brother, go have fun on your motorcycle. It's fine, and we're just going to keep on plowing through. Another good microphone to use is a Shure, S-H-U-R-E, MV7 Plus. Now, that is a microphone that plugs directly into your computer via a USB port. So you don't need any type of interface in between to get to it. If you have a microphone that has the old XLR cord, that's a traditional mic cord that you have seen, that you'll need some type of interface in order to be able to get it from the microphone through the cord and then to the computer. It's got to have something in between before it goes into the computer. And then you need something to record on. I actually prefer, when it comes to audiobooks, a free download. It's called Audacity, AUDACITY.com. If you go to audacity.com, it's a free download, and it works very well, especially when you go and get the audiobook plugins for it, because audiobooks require a certain specification as far as loudness. It's called normalization. And also there's something else called a noise floor. And what that means is they want to make sure that they're not picking up background noises and things like that. So and Audacity does a great job with that, with the plugins. So you can download that onto your computer, play around with it, and get also the ACX check plugin. That means that you can highlight what you've recorded and hit this check, and it will check for you whether or not it passes audiobook specifications. It's a one-click thing, and it's really, really handy. So I have that, still have it on the copy of Audacity that I have here on this computer that I'm recording on right now. It's just I don't do audiobooks anymore. And I'll tell you about the reason for that here in just a little bit as well. All right, so you have the microphone, you have something to record on. You will also need the space, which a walk-in closet works well. If you don't have that, you need to create some type of space that's going to take the echo out of the room. And you can do that with audio treatment. There's a lot of foam, things called bass traps and different things. I'm going to reach over here for just a second. Watch this. This is me not being prepared to get going. Here we go. These that I have here are 1 inch thick and really a little bit too narrow if you're trying to do a good job. The better ones are 2 inches, and the really good ones are 3 inches thick. This is just 1 inch thick, but I would put these on the wall and alternate the shape, some going this way and some going this way, just to trap some of the noise. And if the room was reasonably quiet anyway, this would take out a lot of the echo. So that very cheap that you can find these, order them online. If you can find them local in a store, please do that. But most stores, you're going to have a really hard time finding these types of things. So look it up online and you can find them there. And so once you have the space, you have the microphone, you have something to record in, I would also recommend having a notepad, an iPad, something like that, because you're going to want the manuscript on something. Papers, as you're going through them, shuffle. And that's noise that you don't want. So that's why I preferred to use, I had an iPad that I'd use, and I would read and just kind of slowly scroll through as I was reading the manuscript. All right. All of this sounds like it's really easy, but then things get a little more difficult when it comes time to be in production of an audiobook. You need to be concerned about, there's something called plosives. That's when you say a P or a T, anything that can pop hard into the microphone. You need to be careful about that. Part of that can be the distance. It can also be what the angle is. Typically, I would record like this. I would put it off to the side, and I'm betting that you can hear a little bit of a difference when I did that of the audio. And there goes the motorcycle again. Thank you very much. So yeah, this particular space, I wouldn't be recording audiobooks this time of day. For doing podcasts, I prefer it to be down in front of me like this. But that was one way that I would do it. You don't want your mouth going directly into the microphone, because that's going to be a problem with those plosives, the same P's or different things like that with the words. Also, when it comes to pacing, you have to be concerned about your breath. Are you breathing too loud? Or some I have heard people will go through and silence the breaths altogether. I don't care for that sound. I think it sounds very unnatural, and it can throw people a little bit, and not even really understanding what it is and why it is that, you know, they're not liking what they're hearing. You know, it's because you took all the breaths out. So I personally would always leave them in. Then you have to get through everything clean, meaning that you cannot make a mistake and stumble over a word. In a podcast, sure, it's fine. This is more conversational. But in an audiobook, not so much. So there's a trick when you're using Audacity, and I'm going to teach you about this specifically for Audacity, but a lot of other programs have it too. There is a technique called punch and roll. And what this does is, let's say that you make a mistake and you need to fix it. So you will stop the recording, which, by the way, will be a waveform that you can see. It looks like a sound wave. And you're going to put your marker right at the end of where it was last that you were good. Usually at the end of a sentence. I would also recommend before the breath. And then hit Shift D. And what that will do is it will play the last 5 seconds of what you have recorded, and then it will start the recording again. So you're hearing yourself for the 5 seconds. Wear headphones when you do this, and then you can start recording again. When you get the pacing and the technique down, you can punch and roll your way all the way through a chapter, and when you're done, it is clean and it's ready for editing, meaning for normalization and making sure that that noise floor is where it needs to be. Also, there's no peaks in the volume. So all of that can be done inside of the editor. And there are countless YouTube videos that you can watch in order to be able to pull that off. So that is just another one of the techniques that I always used anytime that I was going through audiobooks. Here's another tip, though, that you're going to want to pay attention to. Do not record too much in one day, because what will happen is the next day your voice will be junk. It'll be very raspy. It will no longer, a lot of times, even sound like you. So you want to make sure that you're not going too much in a day. I would say maybe 2 hours in the studio at the most, because if you're just doing solid talking for 2 hours, that is going to really put a strain on your vocal cords, especially when you first get started. So for me personally, my limit was about 15,000 words per day, which is roughly an hour and a half of finished audio. Past that, there was a definite difference the next day. So you have to time yourself out, because if you get one of these jobs recording an audiobook, well, then you are going to have a deadline, and they're going to want this done by a certain period and a certain date, and you need to plan ahead. Some days, you might be dealing with extra noise outside. Maybe you have some construction going on outside your house and you hear that beep, beep, beep of a truck backing up, and that's going to make it way into the recording. All of these things you need to pay attention to. Now, there is some digital tricks that you can use to take out some background noise, but the last thing that you want to have happen is to submit your finished product and then it fail inspection and you have to do something over again. That's not good at all. So that's just some of the beginning tips in order to get into it. Again, ACX is the site that I started with. I also did a lot of stuff through Fiverr, and Fiverr is FIVERR.com. This is how would you describe this? A gig site, because there's a lot of different things that you can do on there. I just signed up for voice work, ended up getting connected with this guy that was doing a lot of work out of Romania, and he was sending me countless manuscripts. That's where the bulk of the stuff that I did went. And these 45-minute to an hour-long manuscripts, and I was recording just a ton of stuff for him, a couple of books a week usually. And you can get connected with somebody like that on Fiverr. The downside to Fiverr, they take a significant amount of how much you would make off of that. In fact, they take 20%. That's their cut for whatever somebody's going to pay you that you have agreed on the price. 20% of it goes to Fiverr. And there's the ability to give you a tip on there, meaning they'll give you some extra cash for a job well done. Fiverr's taking 20% of that too. So there's some downsides to using these pay-to-play sites. But it is a way to jump in and get going. There are some folks in the voiceover world that hate those pay-to-play sites, voices.com. There's a ton of them out there. However, this is the way of the world now. And if you're just getting started, my personal opinion is it's a great way to get some mileage under your belt using a microphone, using your voice, and being able to practice, essentially, and still get paid a little bit of money. You're not going to get rich doing it through Fiverr. A few do, but they're the exception, not the rule. So that's just the outlining ways of getting into audiobooks. If you have any questions about that, you can always reach out to me, send me an email at toddstuder.com. I'd be happy to fill you in on anything else that might be going on. AIM Institute brings you Southwest Iowa free technical training. It's called SWIFT, and it provides accelerated training for Iowans interested in a career in technology. The program is fully funded by the Charles E. Lakin Foundation, and that means that participants can register at no cost to themselves. Trainings are facilitated by the AIM Institute instructors and are taught both online and in person. Visit aiminstitute.org to learn more. Since 1870, Avila Bank has been providing Iowans with high-quality financial products and services to fit their needs. Whether you need a loan, would like to start a new business account, need to save money for a trip, or maybe you're just looking to open a new personal checking account, Avila's qualified bankers can help you with that and a lot more. Visit avila.bank to learn more. And S&B Country Kennel has become the top spot in Southwest Iowa when you need to know your dog will receive only the best. Boarding, daycare, grooming, self-washing, training, and even a membership available to a dog park over an acre in size. S&B Country Kennel also has rescue dogs, so check with them about adoption possibilities. S&B Country Kennel, located just west of I-29 on Bungie Avenue, south of Council Bluffs. Well, that's today's show. If you have any, as I said, any more interest in learning about audiobooks, I'd be happy to share what I know. Which, again, I don't do it anymore. I personally find it to be grueling work, and it takes an awful lot out of my voice to record, especially when you get into these 7 or 8 hour long books. Yeah, it takes a lot. So, but some folks just love the work, and I'm glad that it's there, and I'm glad that they can do things out of their home studios now. So, again, Hope you enjoyed it. My name's Todd Studer. We'll see you back here again tomorrow morning.